Mark Doman's with us, CEO, managing member of the Doman Group. Mark, thanks for being with us. We're happy you're with us today. We've seen a nice run up since the March 23rd lows, and you're breaking down the market. It's so hard. You're investing and picking stocks, but you got glasses on that are opaque almost. It's tough to know because so many of the companies have pulled guidance. How are you navigating?
Well, thank you for having me back, Nicole. And I can tell you that you're right. With companies pulling guidance, although we don't really consider ourselves to be thematic investors, we do think that there are ways to effectively segregate some of the companies out there when we're thinking about our long-term investment horizon. Our clients at the Doman Group are very young, affluent people in the world of business, sports, and entertainment, and so their investment horizons are very long. So we can really look to those thematic approaches to try to find good opportunity.
So tell me about them. I know you have the great businesses growing through the downturn. Break this down a little bit for me and give me the stock picks that go along with it, Mark.
Sure thing. So one of the areas that we're looking at are companies that we think are going to have really a positive long-term benefit from what we see as a big change in the work environment. For example, the CEO of Barclays came out very recently and said that they're going to revisit their entire real estate model because they do believe that most Barclays employees in the short to even long term can in fact work remotely. So for example, we think there are companies out there that are primed to benefit from this change in the work environment. So, we look at companies like the FANG stocks, big companies like Comcast and other similarly positioned companies because we do think that all of them will benefit from this change in the work environment. So that's one general theme is, looking for the long term of with this changing world, what companies do we think are going to benefit?
So tell me about Comcast. Why do you have that in there with Google?
Well, obviously they have a number of different businesses under. A lot of folks know Comcast for their cable providing, but obviously they own a lot of multimedia properties, NBC Universal, for example. We do think that they are well positioned to take advantage of this new teleworking world for a variety of reasons. Again, it's just in our thoughts as opposed to saying that everyone out there should go and buy or sell a given name,
Yeah, I like that. And I like that you have a variety. And that's part of the technique, too, is to have a diversified portfolio, not be all in one area. I noticed you also have the names that will be maybe more permanently hit hard. But before I get to that, the cyclical exposure, you have VLO in there, Bork-Warner. Tell me about that. That's in the electric vehicle space, which has been very hot. Tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, there, again, it's another thematic approach, right? We're looking for companies that we believe have very strong balance sheets that may be trading right now at discounted values. The real question about when they recover the right way really is a larger macro issue. But we do believe that when the recovery continues or obviously hopefully extends, we think that these will snap back very quickly. These companies we do think are trading at discounted values. And again, I think that there's something that every investor out there should consider looking at names like that.
And then there's the other side of it. You have some retailers, some industrials, some names that you're watching or companies that you're watching that you think you're staying away from them. Explain to us why.
Well, in the same way we were talking about companies that we think in the short to long term really might benefit from this changing work environment, we also have to address how the world is changing. And some of these companies might have real permanent negative impacts. The obvious ones are some of the travel industries, specifically cruise lines, airlines, even the specialty retailers outside of travel. We think that it's going to be a long haul before we see a meaningful recovery in any of those sectors or industries. We think that it's going to take some time until we're
specialty retailers. There's so many retailers. Which ones are you really focusing on as like probably the ones that will struggle?
I would say that we have to kind of wrap up our looking at the retailers before we can start throwing names around. We do feel like there are opportunities, like we said, on one side of the coin to really benefit from what's going to happen to the change in the work environment. But at the same time, if you're trying to avoid some of these names that we think are going to have really short to long-term pain, the retailers included, I don't really want to pick on any given one.